Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unboxed. Today's question: how do I tell my wife I don't feel like being affectionate? Wow. Stick with us as we unbox this answer. I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and relationship coach, and welcome to Unboxed, a frank and straightforward conversation about relationships. We're going to talk about family, church, workplace, and all other types of relationships. Join me for the next few moments as we unbox the power and potential of relationships and help you to live your best life. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Unboxed. I am your host, Dr. Robert Davis. I'm so glad that you came to join us today. With Unboxed, we seek to unbox the power and the potential of all relationships, whether that's church-place relationships, workplace relationships, family, extended family, community relationships, whatever it may be. We seek to unbox the power and the potential of every type of relationship. And we just kicked off our executive directors peer support group. And I want to let you know that we will be starting up a new one. So if you're interested, you can't join the one that we currently started, of course, but you can get information about our future executive directors support group. So if you are an executive on your job, or if you are the executive director of a nonprofit, then we do have a peer support group that's just for you. Matter of fact, let me tell you a little bit about it as you watch this quick video.
Community leadership can be hard, lonely, and stressful. So if you're an executive director, you're not alone. Unboxed offers a dynamic peer support group where executive directors can share their hopes, questions, fears, and expertise in a safe, confidential space. For more information about our executive directors support group, email us or visit our Unboxed website.
All right, awesome. So again, visit our website and get some additional information about the Executive Directors Peer Support Group, because we genuinely believe that those who have the greatest responsibilities really do need to have a strong support system. And at Unboxed, we want to provide that. Hey, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, and share. That's right. Like, subscribe, and share. Check out our YouTube channel where you can get additional videos and information, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to our website or check any of the links in the description so that you can also find ways that you can support Unboxed. All right, let's go ahead and jump to the heart of this. Oh, before, one last thing. Woo, got a lot on my plate. One last thing, and that is tomorrow we're going to continue our study of the book Seasoned with Grace, God's Recipe for Healthy Family Communication. Our virtual book club will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Don't you miss it. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. for our virtual book club. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the heart of this. This question today comes from Seth. He's in New Orleans, and he asked, how do I communicate to my wife that I don't always feel like being affectionate without her becoming overly emotional and dramatic? All right. You know, that's a legitimate question, Seth, and we're going to take some time to unbox this. First of all, and I've shared this many times on this broadcast, and that is you are not responsible for other people's emotions or other people's responses. So you're not responsible for your wife's emotions or responses. What you're responsible for is the way that you behave and the way that you function. So one of the things that we've always said is when you tell someone the truth, always speak it in love. What does that mean? That means whenever you're communicating with your wife, even if it's communicating, you know, right now, I'm just not really in the mood to be affectionate. And I'm really just not in the mood to cuddle, to snuggle, or whatever it may be, to play footsies or to go for a walk, to hold hands, whatever, you know, whatever it is. Just make sure that you do it in a way, as you know your wife, that is respectful, that your tone, that your volume, that all of those things are, convey that you, that you love her, and make sure that you are in a right place mentally and emotionally as you convey whatever you're going to convey to your wife. So speak the truth in love, People will take what you say, even when you say it calmly, even if you say it with the right volume and the right tone. People will take what you say and will run with it. You can't be responsible for that. All you can be responsible for is how you say it and making sure that you function and that you behave in the healthiest way possible. But I want to go just beyond, telling you to be thoughtful, intentional, and kind when you share things with your wife. I want to go into the relationship dynamics for just a second. Now, of course, Seth, I don't know all of the specifics of your relationship, but what you're mentioning here about one spouse being over affectionate and the other spouse not really wanting to receive the affection is something that is pretty common. So what I want to do today, Seth, and for those who are watching, is I want to kind of help you to transition into what I refer to as observing. And remember, this all goes into this whole thinking thing. A great part of thinking is learning to observe. A great part of meditation is learning to observe. So I want you to learn to observe the emotional or the relationship system. Whenever you put two people together, two animals together, two whatever, living creatures together, they begin to form a system. Even when you take a mouse and drop it into a boa constrictor's cage, once the two of them are together, they begin to form a system of how they're going to function and how they're going to operate. So one of the things that's very helpful in all marriages, not just when there's issues and challenges, but in all marriages, is for people to gain the skill of being able to observe what is going on within the relationship system, being able to observe what is going on in the relationship. So I want you to begin thinking about your relationship system, and I'm going to transition you even further to really focus on how you are functioning, or even more specifically, the role that you're playing in this relationship. The role that you're playing. Well, I know the role I'm playing. I pay the bills. I go to work. I do this, that, and the other. I take the kids out. I do blah, blah, blah. No, I'm talking about from an emotional perspective. If you were to kind of, take a 30,000 foot view and just as a scientist, not involved in it, just standing back and observing what's going on, I want you to begin just to look at how you relate and respond and interact with your wife on an emotional level and on a relationship level. I can't get into all the dynamics, so let me just address one, because you talked about, and your question rather is, my wife is affectionate, and sometimes I just don't feel like being affectionate. People seek, and this is why you need to observe your relationship, because people seek a balance with the togetherness and separate forces. I've talked about this before, but let me go a little bit into it. All of us are individuals, but we're individuals who are in relationships. So who am I outside of the relationship, just the real me? And then who am I inside the relationship? And it's kind of that who am I, that balance. I know that's, one of those existential questions, and I'm not trying to get all philosophical, but we all seek this balance of being in a relationship and yet being our own individual person. And that is that togetherness and that separate. I'm with you and yet I'm me. We're together and yet we're separate. Where is that, where is that healthy balance that they're trying to find that sweet spot? But not only are we talking about together and separateness, another way to look at it, especially when one couple or one spouse rather begins to believe that the balance is off because the other person is not close enough to them, that the other person has drifted too far away. So then this dynamic takes place, which is where you have one pursuing the other. Whenever that happens, I can't say whenever, but in an overwhelming majority of the cases, when couples are seeking to find that balance between togetherness and separation, and one of the couples believe that the other one is pulling away, they will begin to pursue them. So you have this thing called the pursuer and the distancer. Because let's say, for instance, this is where I feel healthy, and the other person is coming too close. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start to pull back. It's just natural. It's not something that you think about. It's just something that happens. I began to pull back because I want that spatial balance there. So I began to pull back. So what does this person do? This person wants a balance that's a little bit closer. So they begin to push even and try to get even closer. And so you have this whole pursuing and distancing dynamic that takes place. I want to get closer. The other person wants more distance. They're not feeling, they're feeling too close. And you have this great big struggle here. That's why I told you, I want you to observe what is going on in the relationship. And I want you to observe when you are pulling away as you sense your wife getting too close. I want you to be intentional about thinking about this. Where am I pulling away when my wife is getting too close? Here's the catch. What you want to do is you want to find that place, that healthy balance, that healthy position. There's the word or the phrase. You want to find that healthy position as to where you are going to remain. And so even as your wife gets super close, you're not going to move. Because let me tell you, once she gets overly, she's going to naturally pull back some. Let me tell you what happens. As she begins to pull back, typically what happens is the person who once was the distancer, they now become the pursuer. And you have this whole dynamic going back and forth. No, this is where I'm staying. And as the other person comes close, they're going to end up saying, you know what, wow, that's too close. I need to make some distance now. And they start pulling back, waiting for you to pursue them. No. This is where I am. This is where I stand. And the other person will start to regulate themselves based off of you taking a firm, mature position. There's not a dogmatic position, which I ain't chasing nobody. It's not that type of philosophy that you're looking at. What it's looking at is, again, who do I want to be? What type of person? What type of relationship do I want? And in order for that to happen, where do I need to be emotionally? How close, etc., do I need to be to a person emotionally in order for that to happen? Okay, now I am functioning. I am governing and behaving myself and acting in such a way that, that meets my principles, that meets my values. That's where I'm going to stay. And the other person is going to have to do the dance themselves. I'm not going to do the dance. I'm going to figure out who I am, where I want to be, and that's where I am going to stay. So find that healthy position and remain there. And I want you to do something else as well as you're trying to find that healthy position. Pay attention to the times your wife is wanting affection and you don't want it. So the next time that this occurs, your wife wants affection, but you don't want it. Pay close attention to that. As you're paying a close attention to it, pay attention to what you are doing. Also pay attention to what you're doing different. So when you and your wife are in that sweet spot, pay attention to how you're functioning and the things that you're doing when you're in that sweet spot. Excuse me, when you recognize that your wife is starting to become overly connected, overly pursuing you, or whatever it may be, pay attention to what you're doing then. What did you do differently than when y'all were in that sweet spot? Notice how the messages and the signals that you're sending that is conveying to her, I'm trying to get away. And if it's not you trying to get away, if it's her trying to find that place, that's okay. Just remain where you are. But at least be observant to see if in fact you are pulling away, if in fact that you are communicating a desire for separation. Am I, on a subconscious level, on a nonverbal level, communicating a desire for separation? What you then want to do is to communicate. And this is where I'm going to close out here today. In order to help you to find that sweet spot, to find that healthy position where you will remain, where you will no longer be the pursuer nor the distancer, where you will no longer be, close today, very overly affectionate today, and now you don't want to be affectionate. To find that sweet spot, what you're going to do is this right here. I want you to communicate to your wife the type of relationship that you want to have and the type of husband that you want to be. Tell your wife the type of relationship that you want to have and the type of husband you want to be. Now, of course, before you can tell her, you got to figure it out yourself. So go to that journal, write it down, think it through. It may take you a month, may take you even 6 weeks to really figure out. It may take you a few days. I don't know how you process these things, but begin to think through the type of husband you want to be, the type of relationship you want to have, and then share them with your wife. Listen, I don't want to go through this thing where sometimes I'm affectionate, sometimes that I'm not. This is the type of husband that I want to be. And I want a relationship with you where this is how we express emotions and affection. This is how we interact with each other. This is my desire and the type of relationships. And once you have figured that out for yourself and you and your wife have had conversations and listen, negotiate where necessary, all those things, after you've gone through that process, then be intentional to be the person that you desire to be. Now, even if she agrees to be one way and chooses to go back, you can't, because you're going to be the leader in this relationship. You're the one that sent in the question. You're the one that wants to solve this. So you're going to be the leader in this relationship. And you're going to say, you know what? This is who I said I want to be. This is the type of relationship that I want to encourage, to foster, to nurture. And I'm going to stick there and make sure that I see it through. And that is how we have strong, healthy, principle-centered relationships. And this is one of the ways that we unbox all the power and the potential of our relationships. Listen, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to seeing each of you the next time that we meet, which will be tomorrow for our virtual book club. Until then, have a wonderful day.
Seasoned with Grace, Unboxed also provides healthy relationship training and leadership development for businesses, churches, and community organizations. For a free consultation to discuss your team's needs, please contact us at our website at swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org.